All right, welcome back to Minnesota Sports Live. We have a special guest. He's been on the Sports Zone before this. Coach Joel Bonnett. Claps out to Coach Bo. Welcome back, Coach Bo. What's going on? How you doing?
Doing well. On a bus here to Oregon. We'll be in Oregon for a week, so back in the States for a week.
There we go.
All right, you're going to be busy. You're going to be a busy guy.
Yeah.
So, like I said before, for those who don't know, we had Coach Bo on back in, Voldy, what was it, 2015, 2014?
At least. It had to be at least 2015, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And we had Coach Bo on, and then we had Coach Trevor Payne on as well. So we're working on getting T-Payne on there, Coach Bo. So maybe we'll have you both on. That'd be great. Great.
Absolutely.
So let's get going with some questions for you. The first question is for, those owners that don't know, why don't you give us a brief description on who we are and some of your coaching background? Go ahead.
Yeah. So kind of coached all over, but met you guys up at Southwest Minnesota State. I was there for 2 years, at HendrixCollege in Arkansas for 2 years. And then was at Benedictine University, which is right outside of Chicago, for almost 5 years. And then this offseason took a job with the TorontoBlueJays with their high A affiliate. So kind of been all over the place, all different levels, but it's been good. Hopefully we can my wife's hoping that we can establish some roots somewhere and not have to pick up and move all the time.
Right. Well, if it's back in Minnesota, we'd love to have you. Not gonna lie.
I don't know if it'll upset people, but I don't think I'll be going back to Marshall, Minnesota anytime soon.
I didn't say Marshall specifically, but you get the gist. That's all.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but what you left SMSU and then you went to HendrixCollege. Tell us about your time there. You're there for 2 seasons, 2016, 2017. What was that like being in Arkansas?
You know what? The one thing I say about Arkansas is that no one goes to vacation in Arkansas, so no one really understands what the state is. But it's been one of the best stops we've been. We loved it there. It was a great place. A good mixture of, you got some city life, but you also can go hike and do all of that stuff. And Hendrix was an interesting place. I came from a state school at SMSU, and this was a very high not that SMSU was not high academic at all, but this one was very high academic. It was national recruiting, so it was all over the place trying to recruit kids to come to Arkansas. And so it was a different realm of what I'd been used to. Enjoyed it a lot. The recruiting was hard at sometimes, being all over the country. And once we decided to have kids, I didn't think it'd be a feasible option for, I think my last year there, out of 3 months, we were gone probably 2 of the months completely from recruiting. So figured it'd be best to get to somewhere where work the same amount, but be home every night. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we made the jump to move back to Chicago.
Gotcha. So speaking of Chicago, you head over to Benedictine College in Illinois. You were there for about 5 years and whatnot. What was life like as compared to, you're in Arkansas, now you're moving to Illinois. What was that like? How was it at Benedictine?
Winters were tougher. It was not 65 degrees on Christmas Day like it was in Arkansas. But I think the nice part about it is all the teams were pretty centrally located. So, in the SAA in Arkansas, we were on the road. We were on the road all weekend. And back in Chicago, we were, if we were home one day, we were on the road the next. So we were always, at home. We made it for a little bit easier family life. Recruiting wise, you can drive anywhere for 5 minutes and find a game in Chicago. So it was nice being able to be home every night and see the kids and do all of that. Be closer to family, which is helpful. But yeah, they're completely 2 different climates, 2 different universities. But I think we made the most out of both places and really enjoyed our time there.
Yeah, definitely. I think you mentioned on your Instagram when we were researching and whatnot that it was kind of like your guys' second home in Chicago and whatnot. So that's really cool. Let me ask you this too. How was the transit? So now, you go to, you get the job with Toronto and in the minor leagues there. And how was the transition from going from college, into the minor leagues?
It's good. I mean, I think the level that we're at here, a lot of the kids, the ages are going to be similar to kind of the college style. So it's more of the 20, 21, 22. I think the oldest kid we have on our team right now is 26. So you still have that kind of atmosphere of the college stuff that goes on. But I think just the availability of technology and just understanding how many hands go into developing one player is incredible and a lot to learn, and had to kind of pick it up fast because I got hired, I think it was 3 weeks before spring training started.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm picking it up pretty fast, but I think we've kind of got it down, and it's easier now in Vancouver. In spring training, you're watching everybody. You obviously have your eyes on guys that are probably going to be with you for the season. But now in Vancouver, when we have our guys that are kind of set, obviously it fluctuates with guys getting promoted and hopefully not sent down, but that always happens. But you kind of got your guys that you can develop the relationships kind of like college. I think the relationship building was the hardest part, just because in college you have 6 or 7 months prior to them stepping on campus to get to know them, and here you're meeting them at spring training and trying to figure out how they tick and how they go about their business, and also like trying to evaluate them as well.
Yeah, definitely. And so far, you guys are starting off the season pretty well, 8-5, as we've been taking a look. So congrats on that so far. What's kind of led to this fast start for you guys, for the Canadians?
I think we swing it, but we swing it pretty well and scoring some runs. We play good defense and we throw a lot of strikes. I think when we prioritize strikes with the Canadians and also with the Blue Jays, and so when you look at strikeout numbers, we're striking out a lot of guys. We're also not walking a lot of guys, which is always helpful. We started playing this level with guys who are just getting on first base and not hitting doubles and home runs. They're always one pitch away from the double play. So it's good to keep guys off the bases and be able to, punch some tickets when you have to.
Yeah, definitely. And, you got some fans here from Minnesota Sports Live. So if you have, let us know. We buy hats, we'll buy shirts and all that for you.
If you're looking to stay up and start the game about 9 o'clock at night, we're 2 hours behind. So
right.
My wife is like starting the game at 9 o'clock. My parents in Florida are starting the game at 10 o'clock at night. So sometimes it feels like you're in a different world here. But,
yeah, I bet.
It was the other way around when I was in Florida. I was behind my kids. And so then I'm like, I feel like my day is just starting and theirs is about to end, even though it's just 1 hour difference. But now it's like my day is just beginning and they're already in the middle of their day. So it's crazy to think that 2 hour difference is it feels like you're in a different country sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, the other thing too is like, here, you have like, specific like hockey, and then, I mean, shoot, the Wolves game started at 9 o'clock. Why is it starting at 9 o'clock? And for somebody,
TV, man. It's all about the TV ratings, man.
Sports are great here because you're done. Yeah. The late game is done by 8 o'clock. So when we're watching other affiliates and stuff like that, their games are done, and then we can pretty much go out to our game and start our game.
So what have you learned so far with your time with the Canadians? I know you started up just 2 weeks before spring training, but what have you learned so far since then?
It's a lot of the same stuff that you do in college. You try to build a relationship with the kids and get them to understand that you're there to try to make them better. And then obviously using all your resources, whether it's, the technology that's coming into play in baseball, whether it's TrackMan or Rapsodo or anything like that, or just obviously the people that are with us. I think the Blue Jays have done a really good job of not only outfitting us with enough coaches to really keep the player to coach ratio down, but also, we have a strength coach, we have a mental performance coach, we have a nutritionist, we have a tech assistant that's always with us. And they do a fantastic job. And so being able to lean on them and like looking at how's this guy moving in the weight room compared to the field? Is there anything that we can do in the weight room? What's his nutrition look like? Everything like that. I think I hate the old school. So I don't like to compare the new school to old school, but like just watching bullpens and like, yeah, it's good. We'll see you next time you're going to pitch. Like there's a lot that goes into the day-to-day operations and getting these guys better. And I think just being able to have that stuff at your fingertips has been very exciting to to kind of dive into a lot of that information. And then, the other thing about pro ball, I think, is good and bad. There's no recruiting. There's no, besides game reports, there's no paperwork. There's no fundraising. The stuff that you do in the college realm, you don't have to do that anymore. It's all based on like, how are you going to get these pitchers better? And I think, we're trying to make their dreams come true. And not that in college you're not making their dreams come true, but I think we spend a lot of time preparing them for the real world, because professional baseball is not going to happen for a lot of them. And here we're trying to, make their dreams come true. And you got people, the cultures are all over the place. Some kids from the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and Venezuela and Panama. And then we've got some kids from Canada. We've got kids from America, all over our country, and watching them gel has been pretty cool.
It's so cool that you go from like you were saying, you go from college and then you're going into the minor leagues, and it's just a completely different world, like you were saying. It's really interesting. I mean, I don't think there's any anything going on at SMSU with a bunch of staff and whatnot. It's pretty cool, man. But that's really cool. So let's talk about your coaching philosophy. Like, what is your coaching philosophy? What do you like to do with your players here?
I will say, I'll precursor this with Shield. I think now that I'm 32 years old, I'm a little bit more relaxed than I was when I was 24, 25. So
you relaxed, terrifying. That's even more terrifying than when you were at Southwest. I'll tell you that much.
I think the big thing is it's about the player. It's about, you can't go out and do it for them, but I think you can help them reach the goals they want to reach. But it's also about knowing the player and knowing what he likes, what he doesn't like, and making sure that you can kind of individualize your program and your approach to those guys. Whether it's, I used to be anti-weighted ball, and I used to love weighted balls, and now I'm kind of like, whatever is going to get them better. My last year at Benedictine, we had, guys all over the spectrum of, they did weighted balls, they messed around with weighted ball long toss. We had guys that stood at 90 foot and played catch every day from 90 feet and never went any farther. And you see a lot of that as well with us here in the Blue Jays. Like, it's very individualized, and it's trying to keep the guys comfortable within their routines. That's going to lead to success in the field. But I think my philosophy has changed a little bit from when I was younger. This is the way it's going to be done, and I don't want any questions. And now it's like, if you do have questions about how we're doing things, please bring them to my attention, because I actually would like to learn from you. How do you do things? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's my way or your way. Like, as long as you're getting better, that's all that matters.
Just want to bring this up too. I don't know if you know this, you probably do. When you were with SMSU, your 2015 pitching staff became the first in school history to rack up over 500 strikeouts. So I don't know if you knew that. Did you know that, Coach Paul?
You know what? I did not know that until my SID at Benedictine brought up how it was crazy that we struck out 500. And I was like, well, we had some guys that could chuck it, which was good. So I think we had a lot of walks too, though. We had like 250 walks, or it wasn't very good there. But
wasn't the greatest.
We'll just look at the strikeouts. We won't look at the walks.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough. So let me ask you this then. What are the first things you look at when you're evaluating pitchers? I mean, what do you tell your guys?
So like the recruiting process, I always say that I'm looking for athletic kids that move well on the mound. Guys that have bodies that are room to grow, wide shoulders, different things like that. Because I think at the Division III level, and even when we were at SMSU, we weren't getting the top guys that are well polished, and they got to be strike throwers. So I think the big thing is command is really tough to teach. It's a very hit or miss. You can either teach it or you can't. And it's not coach to coach; it's player to player. I think it's just a tough thing to teach, is to throw strikes. So I think once you start teaching strike throwing to a guy that doesn't throw strikes, you're going to limit your athletic ability on the mound and just how you move. But I feel like if a guy moves well, his arm is quick, or it's long and loose, you start putting weight on the kid in the weight room, you put him into a throwing program, I think the velo jumps. And so that's kind of what we look at, is just being athletic, arm working well, room to grow. and then a strike thrower. One of the big things that we really preach to find. Now, obviously, with the Blue Jays, it's a little different because you can really pick out what you want. But the big thing is we want to be able to, it's strike throwing. Being able to fill up the box as much as you possibly can, going to give you a better chance to be successful.
Hey, man, that's just perfect coach speak right there. Gotta love that.
I think that's Wes Johnson in a nutshell as well. So,
oh yeah,
got that with the Twins. Wes Johnson.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to hand it over to Shield. He's got some questions for you.
All right. Well, we got to really start off with story time, this kind of
Yes.
thing. And let's preface one of the big stories between myself and Coach Bo here. To kind of set the scene a little bit. It's early in the season. It might have been the first few games of the year. We got to play our home games. Yeah.
Here, I'll give you some detail. It's March.
Yes.
It's March I remember March Madness was on.
Yep.
And you were watching the game by yourself.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
We'll get to that part. It'll connect.
Yeah. We'll
connect the dots.
Good.
Yeah. So really had my stance on the team right then and there, just kind of set in stone from Bo there. So we're down in Sioux City and we've got a connection. We're playing at the high school field there. We're playing Mankato. Obviously, Mankato's program, top in the conference, one of the better ones in the country too. And for once, actually, we were winning. We were beating Mankato. And in the flurry of things, my role in the team was kind of all over the place, taking care of equipment, setting up the batting order on the scorecard, relaying information to SID Kelly Loft, making any changes, or putting in order the batting charts, the hit cards for Coach Blanchard as well. In the flurry of everything, got players coming in and out of the dugout. We're beating Mankato and everything along that. So the way Coach Blanchard likes this, the scorecard put out, blue Sharpie. It's got to be a blue Sharpie every time. And making changes on it, if a new batter comes in or a guy switches out, you got to mark it in blue Sharpie and put it on there. And I'm writing, and I got a clipboard in my hand too, making notes of like what happened, with this batter gets a hit, somebody scores, so I can relay that between innings to Kelly Loft. So in the flux of trying to make things adjusted on the scorecard while keeping notes and players coming in and out of the dugout, I'm not pointing any fingers or anything. I, have only two hands. One of them is being used to write. One of them's holding something. I must have I put the pen in my mouth that I had along with the Sharpie and accidentally had put the Sharpie and got a blue streak right on my lip. A couple minutes later, I thought, no big deal. Something happens. One player comes up, says, Shield, you got something on your lip. Second player comes up, Shield, you got something on your lip. 3, 4, 5, 6 guys come up. And the last guy that comes up, he was the bullpen catcher, ended up being, a second baseman for us, Cole Vanderbeek. Love you, Beek. And he says, Shield, you got something on your lip. And I just unload on Beeks. Do I, Vanderbeek? Do I have something on my lip? And it was not a good scene. We end up beating Mankato. We split with them that day. And the bus ride back I wasn't in a very good mood, to say the least. So that's my perspective of the story. I'm sure, Bo, you've got a different angle on my attitude and what you saw from SharpieGate, as we call it down in Sioux City.
Well, the first thing is you didn't include that we scored 7 runs on 5 pitches.
Yes.
So there was a lot going on. It was chaotic.
Good memory.
Dugouts were small, and then we were trying to figure out. I think we were trying to bring Jimmy Callahan started,
Yep.
And we were going to take him out, leave him in. We were going to take him out, and then we started going up. Or no, we were leaving him in, and we went up a bunch. Then we were like, all right, we'll take him out. So that was a lot. But then the other thing, so yeah, you were rattled.
Yes.
Pretty badly. I just remember having my head on the front of the row, and then everyone kept coming by, and then you finally lost it, and I just I was wondering when it was going to happen. And you're at the front just counting heads, and someone would put their head down.
Yep.
You get the wrong number, have to count again, and then another person will put their head down. You would get the number. So then when they heard me say, "Oh well, I'll count," they all put their heads up, got the right number, and we took off. And that was the end of Shield's night.
Yeah.
He was done. He was done for that.
Yeah.
But
I was mentally I was not very strong as I was, or I am now. So it was It was a rough night. And the sad fact of it all, the next day, sitting in the hotel room, I'm working on, a presentation or something. For the 4 or 5 of the upperclassmen guys came up and say, "Hey, we're sorry." And I just feel like absolute garbage about this. I feel like I'm just like, look, I'm the a-hole in this whole situation. You guys shouldn't have come to apologize. And of course, Bo and I think Ish and Blanche were all in the next room hearing this all happen too. And I'm just like, great. Now the coach is here and I'm the bigger a-hole out of this whole situation. But big on the guys to come up and, say sorry, even though they didn't have to. That's on me. I'll take full responsibility.
Blanche goes, "What's wrong with the shield?" And I was like, "Oh, you were on the bus?" And he was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, he had something on his lip and everyone asked him about the pen. And then the guys were putting their heads down. And he couldn't get the right number." And he was like, that's ridiculous. They have to apologize. I'm like, "Okay, well, here's the ones that were doing it. So have him go to his hotel room." One of the best memories of Southwest. I think the other one was when I ordered $450 worth of Jimmy John's, and I thought Blanche was going to have a stroke. We were up in Minneapolis. We called Subway. They didn't have enough bread, and I was like, "You know what? We're just getting Jimmy John's." So I got these box lunches. I was thinking $9 a meal is not that bad, and when I gave him the bill, I thought he was going to drop to his feet right there. Just like, and he's like, "We'll never do this again." I'm like, "Got it. No more Jimmy John's."
And that was going to be another one of my questions. If you had any other stories that you remember from your time at Southwest, I remember that one too. Yeah, it was pretty quiet from Blanchard after that too.
The best college story that doesn't include baseball is my first year at Benedictine. We're going to Florida, and so my job was to get the vans rent the vans, get them there all ready. I'm like, "Okay, I can do that." So I go to my office, I pull up our schedule, I see we're playing on whatever, I think March 15th. Play on 15th, we're done on the 22nd, we're going to return on the 22nd, get on this plane, and go home. So I called the rental company, I'm like, "Hey, 15th to the 22nd, we need 5 vans." They're like, "Perfect, got you down." I'm like, "Well, that's easy, we're good." And then we get down there. Well, I didn't think about that we flew down on the 14th. And we practice on the 14th. So we fly down there. I think, "Hey, we're just gonna get the vans. We're good. We get there and there's no vans. So I call the guy. I'm like, "Hey man, where's the vans at?" And he goes, "The vans, they come tomorrow." I'm like, "No, I rented them." He goes, "Yeah, it's from the 15th to 22nd. I look at my phone, it's from the 14th. I'm like, "Oh crap." So then I hang up and I tell my head coach, like, we got no vans. We have no vans. And he's like, he throws his bag down and he's like, "What are we going to do?" Because all our players are at the airport with no coaches. They're just sitting at the airport. And so there's a place across the street that looks like it was a car dealership that has rental cars. So I run across the street and I'm like, "What do you guys got?" And they're like, "We got one 15-passenger van, a minivan, and 3 4Runners." I'm like, "We'll take them. We're gonna try to fit 45 people in these cars." And so we get them, and the whole time, one of our other assistants who really liked to kind of push my buttons, and he was like he's just sitting in the chair in the waiting room, like, "There's no way we're gonna fit. There's no way we're gonna fit." I turn around, like, "You can shut up right now. We're gonna somehow fit everybody into these cars." Yeah. And so then we got everything in there. We got the practice. We did everything. The next day we go back to return our cars and get the vans. The vans are sitting right there. It took us 15 seconds. So the guy was like, "Here's your keys," and we were out of here. So that's one of my big mess ups is the vans.
Oh, that's a good one too. I'm going to go on to a little rapid fire if you're ready for it here.
Absolutely.
All right. So first rapid fire question: better roommate at Southwest, Coach Jeremy Ish or Coach Trevor Payne?
Well, I'd say Ish, because me and Trevor were not roommates. Live in the same building, not roommates.
True. This is true. I
talk to them both once a week, pretty much every week. So
that's awesome.
Good. Stay in touch.
Favorite Blanchism, or if you've got another good story from Coach Blanchard too.
When he doesn't suck. That's my favorite. I think about every time, no matter if we're here or no. Every time we won a game at Benedictine or Hendrix or even up here, that's the first thing that comes to my mind when he doesn't suck.
It just doesn't.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best.
All right. So your time at Southwest, you got the little GA's office with everybody just kind of congregated in one little area. Who in the GA's office, besides, maybe Ish or Coach Payne, was the best conversator? You could sit down, you could talk to that person for hours.
I think the softball GAs, because we had the same sport pretty much. Well,
Okay.
yeah, same season, same sport.
Gotcha. And for those that don't know, you're a hockey guy as well. I know that our first conversation is talking about how you made it to the final camp of the St. Louis Junior Blues in your time, growing up playing hockey as well. More fulfilling championship from a fan's perspective, the Stanley Cup championship for the St. Louis Blues, or your Georgia Bulldogs winning a national championship?
Georgia all day. Was unbelievable. I can't believe you remember that as a Georgia fan, but massive. It was one of the greatest days of my life. Besides like wedding and birth of my kids, it was fantastic.
You know what they say, an elephant never forgets. So I mean,
I didn't miss a play this year from Georgia. Watched every play of the entire season, so it was worth it.
That's awesome.
The one thing I'm very upset with myself is I don't know how many times I cursed Stetson Bennett throughout the year, and now I can't say anything bad about him because he did win a national title. But I just don't. All year I was like, this guy's not the guy. And then the first drive was just the icing on the cake with the fumble and then the interception. And it was not a great way to start the game, but he figured it out.
And I remember from your time too at school was you were a guy that liked to get in the gym, maybe sling some weights around and get a little cardio. I always see you on the rack. Favorite workout program?
Squattober.
I love it. All right, last one here for coaching as well. Biggest pitching coach pet peeve that drives you crazy when you see it from your players?
Yes, it'd be bad body language. From a coach, it'd be just throw strikes.
Okay.
I hate that. I think what we've seen in the last week too is we hear it all the time in MinorLeagues, like yelling at the fans and like the booing. It's like I would love to go somebody's job and just boo them when they don't do a good job. Just boo them.
Right.
You go sit in your cubicle and just boo you.
Yeah, exactly. And well, that kind of wraps up the rapid fire, but I do have a little show and tell as well. And I've been thinking about this a lot more, if you wanted me to return this or not. Your old gamer.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know you had that.
Hey man.
Wow.
I had sticky fingers back in college, so I mean,
that's fine. I've graduated to the left-handed catcher's mitt, so that's yours.
I gotta get me one of those. Yeah. Been thinking about it too. It's like, maybe get it relaced and maybe send it to him as just a hey, thinking about you present or something like that. But I think I'm just gonna hang on
Keep
to it. It sits in the bottom of my drawer. So yeah. So
don't say I never gave you anything.
No, I will definitely never say that. But yeah, I mean,
it's
that's
also it's very refreshing to hear Shield. Because on Facebook it's Paul Vold, and I just keep reading Paul Vold, and now to hear the Shield, it's very refreshing.
But before you go, Coach Bo, we do have merch. I don't know if you're interested. We have stickers. If you want, we have $2, $3 stickers, and also we do have shirts. If you're interested, this is what we got as well. So we don't want to persuade you either way, but it's something. If you're interested, we can hook you up. So let us know.
I'll do the shirt. I will send you guys our next road trips visiting Clubhouse because it's easier getting into Canada. So I'll send that over to you. But I don't
know how many toonies and loonies it would take to send over to the Canadians, but we got hats as well. So maybe throw out a nice little care package or something for you.
Sure, have to rock it around.
Absolutely.
I'll send one back to you guys as well.
Hey, appreciate it.
I think we have a patch. I'll send you a patch.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Awesome.
Love it. But hey, Coach Bo, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And we do have so we have this thing called best guess of 20. So we've done the award twice. So I think you're getting up there for a best guess of 2022. So be on the lookout, Coach Bo. Okay.
Oh, awesome. Sounds great. Good talking to you guys.